Hey everybody, this is Mr. Hardcore Mode here. Warriors and wenches, good to see you all. I am going to do another hard rant with you, this one pertaining to Mark Dara, a former BioWare employee. He worked on Dragon Age and most BioWare games, but he's doing his own thing, whatever, you know, that sort of thing. But he made a video called Your $70 Doesn't Buy You Cruelty. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. Oh boy, this is gonna be so good. I can't wait to hear about this after what he said about Veilguard, but we'll talk about that later. See what he has to say. Let's do it.
Did you read the title? Did it say something like your $70 doesn't buy you cruelty? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. The fact that you bought a game that you didn't like doesn't give you the right to be cruel or unkind to the people that developed that game.
He's right. No, he's right. If you're doing anything like, let's say, if you're doing anything like sending death threats, what the fuck is wrong with you? Seek help, all right? It's a fucking video game, all right? If you're out there doing harassment and that sort of thing, that's pretty fucked up. Now, if you're in your own space, on the internet, talking about any sort of video game, much like I am, just saying, I don't like these niggas, and if they go woke, go broke, then fuck them. Look for another job. Well, guess what? Fuck your feelings, okay? I'm sorry, but if we spend money on something that you know, we only get what do we get? I don't think we even get a refund anymore. What is it, like 2 hours on Steam? And that's not enough time to like judge a game for some people, but for me, I knew I shouldn't have bought this game, but I bought the game, played it, and I was like, yeah, I shouldn't play this game because it's unhealthy mentally and physically. But for content, it was great. But fuck your feelings, man. It is what it is. What do you want? What do you want? A cookie? Listen. I want to say this. I literally, it just escaped my fucking head. It just escaped my fucking head. I hate that shit. I hate it when I have something on the top of my tongue and it just leaves. It fucking leaves. It'll come back. It'll come back. Fuck.
Now I'm going to be clear about something. I'm not saying that you have to like the thing you bought. True. I'm not saying even that you aren't allowed to complain about the thing you bought. You can have whatever opinion that you feel like towards a game. Even if that opinion is stupid and wrong, you are entitled to that opinion. And to some degree, you're entitled to it.
Don't forget if it's right. Don't forget that one, Mark Dara. Don't forget if the opinion is right. What if the game is actually objectively sucks? And that opinion is actually right. Don't forget that one. Listen, it could be stupid, but it also could be true, though. It could be. We gotta look at it in both ends.
Express that opinion to the corporation, to the video game studio that created this game that you bought. You paid 70 of your own dollars for this game, and it disappointed you.
True.
And you're angry about that. That is fine. You are entitled to be angry about it.
It also sucks as well, is because you could put this in two different ways. One, I just spent a 70 bucks on a game that I didn't like. And two, I just not only spent 70 bucks on a game I don't like, but it's one of my favorite franchises, and they just deleted the lore. They deleted the love and the build-up from Dragon Age. You know, something that he's not working on anymore. It's one thing to stab your wallet with a knife, but it's another thing to twist the knife, you know? But I hope later on in this video he can. I think he already explained it. He can understand people's frustration, which I'm glad for. He did mention that. I'm glad he spoke on that.
And you're entitled to express that anger in certain channels.
True.
If you are mad at that Ubisoft game, be mad at Ubisoft. Express your anger to Ubisoft or to the studio that made the game. But you cross a line when you start being cruel about it.
What do you mean?
Why am I saying you don't get to be?
Wait. Cruel about what? If you mean, you said it's one thing to be cruel about the studio or Ubisoft. Do you mean the employees? If you could say it, I get it. You know, you don't want your friends, the people that you know, for people to berate them and stuff like that. That one I can understand. Fuck that shit. You think I'm gonna go up to Corin Bush and be like, hey, you're a man? No, I'm fucking not. I'm gonna do that in my own space, okay? I'm not gonna DM him. No, that's what crazy people do. But yeah, you can say like, yeah, just say like, yo, don't be cruel to if you're trying to say like, there's people underneath the studio that, you know, don't go up to them, you know, sending death threats, you know, harassing them, that sort of thing. I can understand that.
Be cruel because you spent $70. Let's walk through it. 1, you shouldn't be cruel at all. What are you doing? It's a video game. You don't need to go out of your way to cause harm to other people because of a video game that you don't like.
True. He's right. What I like to do is I like to send out tweets, and I also like to do things on my own channel. Am I gonna send this email to fucking like people like BioWare, or am I gonna send this over to fucking what's it called? To fucking Ubisoft and say like, hey, you guys, you all suck. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do it in my own place, in my own time. Do I have to be nice? Hell no. Fuck your feelings is what I'm trying to say. Listen. I can understand his point of view where he would like it if people were a little bit nicer, but I think he's just yelling at the wind. But I think he has to come into the realization that not everybody, listen, we only are so nice, you know, to the point where, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, you fucked with our money is what I'm saying. When it comes to games like Veilguard, when it comes to games like Avowed, when it comes to games like, what are the games that are failing right now? Assassin's Creed. It's like we could say what we want to say in our own spaces. Now, if we're going out there and like literally going up to them and saying stuff to them and saying, "Hey, man, you need to," you need to, you know, stop being so woke and so broke. I don't want to go up to fucking them. Now, if I did a podcast and they're in my space, oh, I'm going off. Okay, you know, I'm going off. Am I gonna be cruel? Yeah, you're in my space. Well, welcome. Yeah, you're a guest. That's cool. But I'm gonna be straight up level with you. I'm gonna be honest. Because this is how it is, man. Listen. Have you noticed that games have been getting more and more expensive year by year? We did this whole $70 thing, and now people are now journalists are talking about, hey, maybe Rockstar Games should be giving out $70 $100 games now. And so it comes to the realization, if the game, you give us low quality games but you raise the price. Do you see where I'm getting at? This is where the anger issue starts to happen. Why are the gamers suffering, paying more for bloated games that give us a mid to low product, of a AAA game, but we pay $70 to $100, especially $110 for like an early access. This is why people are angry. This is why people are angry. Because not only do you change something that is something that is beloved, but you also smack on there extra $30 please. Extra $40 please. That's the anger. That's the issue. I wish developers could understand that. They need to this is why I was talking about risk. This is why I'm talking about risk, because it seems like developers these days are looking at their investors and saying, "Hey, if this game sucks, you got our back, right? Microsoft, you got our back, right? Ubisoft, you got our back, right? We got all these investors." They need to realize that they cannot survive without the gamers. And if they realize that, their survivability picks up. And then they dig down, they make a video game, and they realize, hey, guys, we got to do the best we can to make this game. Because if we don't, we're out of a job. We're out of a job. And so we work harder to make a video game. And then through that, then we get a better product. But if you give us a Game Pass game, if you give us Veilguard, if you give us Assassin's Creed Shadows, and you expect us, to be fair, from what he's saying, he's kind of trying to reach us at a level. But most developers out there try to have this whole idea to have like, oh, I don't know why they're so upset. Shouldn't they be positive 200% all the time? Nah, fuck that toxic positivity bullshit. Listen, we do not think about you guys 24/7. We got other shit to do. Somebody's grandma is sick. We got to take care of her. We got kids to feed. We got other jobs to do. Somebody's got to take care of the babies. Somebody's got to mow the lawn. All these other things. We think it's great that you developers are making games, but at the end of the day, you are not my friend. You are not my friend. And you also know that we don't know you. So it's kind of, so we got to do this whole capitalist thing, because God bless capitalism. It's universal, where we're like, okay, you got to give me a product. You got to give me a $70 product. You know what that means? If I'm buying a $70 product, then I'm getting a $70 experience. That's what I'm getting with KCD 2. You can't just say, here's a $100 game, and I barely played 4 hours of it because the game is boring. That's my issue.
Again, I'm not saying you're not allowed to be angry about it. I'm not saying you don't get to express your dissatisfaction with the content of the game that you're not enjoying. But when you climb into someone's personal social media and start actively attacking that person, when you celebrate layoffs at a studio because the
no, the part with the DMs, agreed. We should not be going over to their DMs and harassing them. You are 100% true. Celebrating somebody's like demise because they fucked with our video games, or they made us a product and we bought that product and it's objectively sucks, like Veilguard. Nah, son. Listen, this is the World Wide Web. This is the world. And you cannot, the only person you can control is yourself. Okay? So if listen. If somebody was to bring down McDonald's, shut down all of McDonald's, and replace McDonald's with some other fast food restaurant, let's just say this. Let's play with it. Hold on. Let's just play with it a little bit. Let's just say we shut down McDonald's completely. And then we replace McDonald's with a better restaurant. you could call it whatever you want. Happy Fazbear's Burgers or something. But they have better food, better prices, better pizzas, Papa John. No, I'm just kidding. But and they always have some sort of rib sandwich. So it's not a seasonal thing. This place has some sort of rib sandwich and it's always there. It's not seasonal. I guarantee you nobody will give a fuck about McDonald's real quick because they got a better restaurant now. They do. They're like, oh, McDonald's is down. Yeah, but we're going to get a better restaurant that has healthier food. And they also have a rib sandwich that's better than the McRib. And yeah, the food actually tastes like food. And yeah, they also have a dollar menu. Oh, then fuck McDonald's. Fuck up. Fuck. Oh, layoffs? Fuck McDonald's. You see what I mean? If we will celebrate a downfall because you gave us a shitty product and then we just played a different game that cost us $30 and we were having the time of our life. So I'm sorry to say that we do not give a fuck about you that much. And so do the devs and so do the journalists. But we will give you respect if you respect our money. And that's a hard sell. That's a hard sell. It's hard. But that's just the way it is.
The game that you don't like didn't do that well.
Hey, Vine, hi,
You're
Bryce.
crossing a line into being cruel. And fundamentally, you should have more grace for other human beings.
He's right, but like I said, the world doesn't owe you that sort of lifestyle. You know what I mean? If I was to go on a date and and the girl that I went on a date with did not like the date and she was being a bitch, what do you want me to say? You want me to say you should be nicer to me? No, I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna read the situation and be like, all right, let me go take you home. I'm not going to do this whole like, oh, shoot, you don't like the date? You should be nicer to me. You see what I'm saying? I wish the world was just the world that you're living in right now, Mark, but it's not. It's not. But the only person you can control is yourself. Do you wish people were nicer in the world? Yes, me too. Also, me too. But that's just not how it is. If you tell somebody to pay $70 and then, you know, you don't even, it's not even a $5 game. They will get angry. It's just how it is.
But if you're not buying that, let's go on to point 2. You don't know what caused the results that you don't like. Let's go through an example.
There are some people like that. But they don't really care. They don't really care that much. When it takes too long for me to get my food at a restaurant, and then they come by and give me my food after 45 minutes of waiting on my wings and fries, and I get heated because I almost waited for an hour, and somebody comes up to me and says, sorry, 2 people didn't show up. Bitch, I don't fucking care. Now, some people will be like, I understand that. But that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. If you cannot put people, you have to realize that in certain situations like this, the only thing, like I said before, the only thing that you can do is your best. And if your best is basically that said game, then, oh, you know what? I also want to bring up another thing. You want to talk about developers, you know, be kinder to developers. Why the fuck were the developers outside of a GCD or GDC or something screaming, like laid off developers outside screaming off the top of their lungs because they lost their job? What the heck is this? It is, in a way, that's a form of like cruelty. If anything, they're kind of in the way. I mean, we can go both ways. You're losing your job and you're going to be outside my studio or outside of a, what's it called? Outside of a celebration, and you're going to be doing some sort of like protesting outside of a venue, screaming off the top of your lungs. That's the same thing.
Let's say that you don't like the line delivery on a piece of dialogue. Is that the fault of the voice actor? It might be, but it could be a lot of other things too. It might be the fault of the person who was directing that voice actor. Maybe they were given very specific instructions to deliver the line in this particular way.
Yeah, but what if they just suck though? Yeah, what if they just fucking suck? I'm a mage, I'll go. Not all... See, there's something I gotta mention. Not all game developers are good game developers. Some game developers are not even there to even make a game. They're just there to make a fucking political ideology agenda. Some game developers aren't even trained yet. There's also those too. There's a lot of developers out there where you guys just throw those developers into the flames, into the fire, because you just threw out the good veteran developers, and then you replaced them with new bloods, and they have no idea how to function on this engine. So, and then what happens before the game even comes out? You lay off those same individuals. And you could say it's, like, for example, with Veilguard, it could be either EA or it could be either BioWare. To me, I think it's both. But at the end of the day, I'm just a customer and I don't really care.
Maybe the writer who wrote that line wanted it delivered in this particular way, and the stage direction specified this particular line delivery.
Like the line where she was like, "So I'm non-binary." You mean that line? Which line? Are we just making an example?
Maybe the recording equipment at the voice studio went down, and the only take they managed to get was this first one that was done just to set the tone, and they were just kind of out of time and stuck with it. So if you go and you start
we're kind of reaching at this point, but yeah, go ahead.
Attacking the voice actor for a line delivery you don't like, it might not be them at all. It might.
Like I said, I do all my stuff on videos and on tweets of my own tweets. I'm not going over to their DMs. I'm not going to their LinkedIn. I'm not going to their emails. All the stuff that I say is right here on my channel most of the time. If they want to come over and hear what the fuck I gotta say, that is on them. And you know what? After that, I don't fucking care. But I'm not gonna fucking, what's the word? I'm not gonna harass them. Hell no, that's wrong.
Might be something else. Indeed, it might not be the line delivery at all. Maybe the problem was the writing. So should you go attack the writer? Well, no.
I can't really attack the writer because the writer is fired. But what I mean is, we really do not attack anybody, because if anything, these companies will do it themselves. You know what I mean? We don't need to attack anybody. Money, cash money, speaks for itself. And when you don't got any money, well then those writers end up just disappearing all of a sudden. Like, oh no, the writers are gone. Unless you're like Corin Bush and you like get laid off and then you land a nice cushion job out of nowhere. It's kind of like when two people have two trampolines and they jump off one trampoline and they jump on another. And I'm just like, Corin Bush, wow. You ruined Dragon Age and then you just left and then you went to another game? Awesome. Usually when somebody's not good at something, you fire them and then the other people go, oh man, I don't want to hire you because you're not good. But some of these developers do this whole thing, well, you're trans and I like trans people, so I'm going to do a little bit of favoritism. Yes, queen. And so they hire Corin Bush on another studio. Meanwhile, the other developers are still looking for a job. It's so sad. It's so... There were probably some good developers in BioWare that got laid off, but those ones are probably still looking for a job. They're probably not going to be game developers anymore. But those special needs developers are getting a job. It's so weird. You remember that one time that the Game Awards had this one fat guy on the stage and he's like, yeah, so I'm just picking up game developers that don't have a job anymore. And I'm just like, so you're just picking up failures? Listen, we've all gotten fired before. We've never seen this shit before. You know what I mean? I've never seen this shit before. Where you find a nice job and then you mess up just a little bit and then your boss fires because they don't want to be liable for anything. Nobody's coming out and being Captain Save-A-Ho and gonna give me another job. No, I gotta go find another job. But these game developers are just like, well, girl, come over here. Come over here and we're gonna slay together. They treat these game developers like they're homeless people looking for a home. Or like, it's so weird. Where I'm just like, are they good game developers or were they out of luck? Because that's possible. You see what I'm saying? They're either bad at their job or they were out of luck. Do not look at this situation and just not even care whether it's left or right, whether it's one or the other. Because when you bring somebody in, you want competent and talented people. If you want new people and you want to teach them, that's cool. But when I look at the situation where they're just picking up game developers like they're, piece of candy, piece of candy. He's like, we don't want any developers to be laid off, so I'm just gonna pick up the stragglers. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Because why was the line written in this way? Was it written this way because the writer had a specific thing they were trying to say? Maybe. Maybe it was written this way because there was incredibly tight time pressures due to other externalities on their time.
That's true, actually. That's actually very true. Ubisoft had also not only time, but also the way the publisher does things. With Ubisoft and EA, they like to do this shuffle carding shit where they'll work on something for a few months and they'll be like, all right, we're going to change the game this way. And the developers are like, what the fuck? And then after a few months, they're just like, oh, we're going to change the whole system now. And everybody's like, what the fuck? Okay, we're changing the game again. Are we sticking with this? And then the fucking CEO and everybody are just like, maybe. And then 6 months later, they're like, actually, we're going to make it a multiplayer. And they're just... This is true, by the way. This is that would drive me insane.
Maybe the direction of the game changed radically 3 months ago, and they had to rewrite this entire character in just 3 months, and you're just getting the first draft of that writing. Maybe the lead writer wanted this character to be in a specific way, and it constrained what the writer was able to do while they were writing this character. Maybe the creative director on the project had specific goals that they had in mind, and they were pushing the writing in a particular way or restricting how much leeway the writers had in order to express their vision on what the game was able to do or be. Maybe the executive producer, all of these people reporting up into the executive producer, decided that this game should be different in tone and was...
That's the one I was looking for. All that other shit, I didn't give two shits about. That one right there, the, yeah, EA and stuff, changing up the game to be a multiplayer, and then they're like, actually, you can make it a first person, you know, a single player game. And then after Veilguard failed, the CEO of EA was just like, see, you should have had it a multiplayer. And I'm just like, nigga, this guy is a fucking robot. He don't give a fuck about nobody. But we gotta agree on something. It's not only EA's fault, okay? It's not only EA's fault. If anything, you wanna, when it comes to BioWare, you wanna know where they fucked up with BioWare? They fucked up when they signed the stuff with EA. They fucked up right there. And I get it. Probably back then they were probably like, woo, we get some funding. We're with EA now. They didn't know what the fuck they were getting into, and they just wanted to make a great game. They didn't know. But that's the thing though. When it comes to contracts and signing, you need to think, double think, triple think, and then quadruple think. You need to think 10 years later down the road and be like, are these niggas good? Because it's a dicey situation. But yeah, BioWare, it's not just EA, it's also BioWare, you know. And also it's the developers as well, you know. It's also the developers. It can't just be all about the publishers. I'll be honest, I'm surprised EA hasn't dropped BioWare to the ground. I'm still trying to figure out why they're making them make Mass Effect 5. I'm still trying to figure that out. That's just so weird. You know what I mean? I'm just like, what do you mean? Aren't you going to close down? They probably will later on. Probably right as soon as the game drops, they're just going to throw those 100 like game developers out the window and be like, all right, you made the game, get the fuck out now. All right, get out. But it's a combination of the two.
Pushing the game direction in a different way. Or maybe the leadership of this project changed 6 times and the direction changed 6 times, and you're getting, like I said, little bits of writing from each of these different directions, and there was never adequate time to step back and rewrite it.
You know what I'm also noticing with this whole conversation is developer and publisher, developer and publisher, developer and also publisher. So I'm starting to realize that maybe I know developers are hurting for money and they want to start up a Kickstarter, or they want to make a game and they want to have it their vision. You know what? I'm going to speak to indie developers right now that don't have a publisher at all. If you want to have a publisher, you need to think 10 to 15 years down the line who the hell you're dealing with. You really need to think deep down and also realize what your studio is. Is your studio just you and the boys, or is it you and the boys and some publisher waiting for you to get out money? Can you trust them 15 years down the line? Because it's very difficult. And number 2, why don't you just do it on your own? It's hard, but it's possible. I think it's hella possible. It's hard, but possible. I think perfect example. Where's that game? Where is it? I like this game. Where is it? They're with Focus Entertainment. I don't know how long, but they're with Focus Entertainment now. My Time at Portia, and My Time at Sandrock, and they also have another one called My Time at Evershine. Oh shit, did they break out? Oh, they're no longer with Focus Entertainment. So what they did was, okay, this is why I like Focus Entertainment, because Focus Entertainment has a flexible contract, unlike EA. This is why you need to focus. Yeah, see, now I understand why I signed up for their Kickstarter for My Time at Evershine. This game isn't out yet, but I'm excited to play it. Basically, they are on their own, no longer with Focus Entertainment. I think their first game, My Time at Portia, this was their first game. They were with Focus Entertainment. And then their second game, My Time at Sandrock, that I played, they were with Focus Entertainment still. But My Time at Evershine, they're not with them anymore. That's pretty cool. That's great. That they get to keep their game. They get to keep their title. They, like, you know how it is when you sign your game up to be, you know, like, oh shit, I'm with BioWare now, but can I keep if I leave BioWare, can I take the Dragon Age out and can they sell it to me or something like that? You never know whether or not EA will do something like that. It's kind of dicey to think about.
Maybe the CEO of the entire company really wanted his nephew to be hired as a script consultant.
Briar says, oh, Mr. Hardcore Mode plays cutesy Sims. Yeah, get her out of here. Yeah, door's that way. Thank you. Yeah. Yep, see you later. You have a good day.
And this guy with literally zero experience was coming in and pushing for mandatory changes to the project. How realistic are all the things I just said? Some of them are incredibly realistic. Mm-hmm. Some of them not so realistic, but I've seen things that look an awful lot like all of the things I just said. So when you decided to personally attack that one specific person on social media, how certain are you that it was their fault?
We need to draw a line on what do you mean by attacking. If we're asking questions with the game developers, it's not considered attacking. If I come up to Corin Bush and I say, why did you ruin Dragon Age? Why did you do this, this, and this to Dragon Age? It is not attacking. Now, if she doesn't, what the fuck? If he doesn't want to talk to me, I'm not going to come back. I'm not. They don't want to talk to me, fine. What I consider when attacking, the only time I consider attacking is two things. One, harassment, and two, death threats. Those are the only two. Harassing, like going at their DMs again and again and again, changing your email, coming at them again and again. That's harassment. Don't do that. The other one, obviously, death threats. I don't do that. But if I'm on my channel, if I'm on my Twitter, and I say, these bitch ass niggas suck at making video games because they're bullshit and they ruin Dragon Age, I ain't attacking them. Alright? Alright? I ain't attacking them. That's my criticism, and you can take it or leave it.
That they are responsible for that thing that you don't like. And I'm going to tell you right now, you shouldn't be certain because you don't know exactly what was going on within the project.
You really don't need to think this deeply about what they're going through and all this stuff. All you need to think about is, I spent $70 on a game. The game is horrible. They ruined my favorite franchise, or I wasted my money and now I can't get a refund. And now I'm mad that they changed everything and I might not ever get a Dragon Age again. Or I might never get an Assassin's Creed game again. Or I might never go back to loving my, like, another Halo game again. It's like, we don't fucking care, okay? We don't fucking care. Alright? We got our own shit, they got their own shit. But at the end of the day, we don't fucking care. If you fuck up my restaurant order, you don't give me my eggs, my bacon, and my 2 sausages that I put on the side, and you look at me like, oh, he's not gonna get mad because he's an adult. Bitch, he's going to get furious. So be ready. Be ready. That's just how the world works. The world won't bow to you. The world won't bow to you, honey boo boo schnookums. That's just how it is. The best you could do is two things. You could apologize. He's like, hey, we didn't live up to the expectations of the player. And yes, everybody knows about the infamous letter, you know, the letter from developers, something like that. But the last thing you want to do is not say anything. That's the last thing you want to do. You don't want to ruin a good franchise and just say nothing at the fucking end. I can't even do that myself. If I was in a game, like a game developer, and I was trying to make a really good game for people, and then people were like, man, you just ruined my favorite franchise, I would want to say something. I would. Because they would deserve it. But they didn't say anything. They were just like, you know what? All I care about is me and my job. And since I'm laid off, you know, that's all I care about. Nah, man, you got to think deeper than that. These fans that came with you along the way, do they mean anything to you or not? Do they mean anything? Or is this just another job to, you know, we're just a stepping stool? And you're just like, oh, off to another game developer. Oh, man, I had an amazing time at BioWare. I'm going to off to the next job. And I'm like, bitch, what?
You don't know the exact circumstances that resulted in that thing you didn't like. Even people who were on the project aren't always going to be absolutely certain on who is responsible for something being exactly.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. It takes a minute, but yes, they do. Yes, they fucking do. The only difference is you don't know them. That's the only difference. The reason I'm sorry to say, but if you say it like that, it almost seems like developers don't come to you for a serious conversation that they don't want to speak about, because people come to me at my job and they're just like, hey man, that one guy over there, sorry to say, he sucks at his job. I don't know what to do about him. I don't know. The only person I can trust to talk about this is you. There are some employees that I just don't go to for help, because I'm just like, this motherfucker's either gonna snitch or this motherfucker's just gonna laugh at my face and not even care. And it might be Mark Dara. It might be, it might not be. But if we're getting leaks on certain developers saying, hey, listen, I like your channel. Your channel's great. It's cool. I like what you say about, yeah, I like this game. Anyway, these new people in the studio, they're fucking crazy. Oh, they are? Yeah, they're fucking crazy. Are you making a Dragon Age game? No, we're not making. We had an art book and we had awesome ideas. Oh shit, really? Yeah, you were supposed to ride a giant dragon ship. A giant dragon ship? That's cool. That's awesome. Yeah, but they threw that shit out. Why would you throw out a giant dragon ship? That's so fucking badass. I know, but they said I'm non-binary. Non-binary? What the fuck? Yeah, that's all they're talking about. They're not talking about the game. Listen, I'll talk to you later. Listen, I trust you. Don't say my name, okay? Keep it confidential. And I'm just like, oh, okay, all right. I can't talk to nobody over here. Everybody, I can't. If they're gay, I can't stay, okay? They might rat me out. Okay, I got you. All right, back to the video.
A particular way. These projects have hundreds of people on them. Content moves around between multiple people. Unless I am the person who is actually responsible for something being a certain way, that chain of custody isn't always going to be super obvious to me.
There are moments like that where the person who's creating the issue of where the game is being directed, game director. There are some moments where the game director is just like, they won't move a fucking inch. If I come up to them and say, hey, this game is fucking stupid, why are we talking about political bullshit on this video game? Hey man, we should really get back to Dragon Age. Boop, fired. Because that's already happened before. Boop, fired. Off making Exodus. You know, the developers that made, you know, Star Wars, you know, the video games, the Neverwinter Night, all that stuff, Baldur's Gate, the old 1 and 2 games. Another developer, hey, it's like, hey, I think we should stick to formula. Boop, gone. They're off to make another game. You know, has anybody else noticed that? Where they're just like, man, we really like this studio. Oh man, we got a capable team. And then, boop, they lay them off. Or more like they fired him. And even though he had, like amazing skills. Amazing skills. And then out of nowhere, they come back, and they got a new studio, and that same developer that got fired is like, I'm so glad that I have this studio where we can make things, you know, freely, and we have a freedom to do our own art. And I'm just like, nigga, you didn't have that in the previous game? In the previous studio? Why'd you say that? What do you mean? And that's what happened to the developer with Rebel Wolves. They came straight out of Cyberpunk 2077. And yeah, they got let go. And now they're they got Rebel Wolves, and they're working on Dawnwalker. And the guy literally just said, man, I'm so glad I got freedom with art expression. And I'm just like, wait, why'd you say that? Is CDPR good? I'm just saying.
And all of this isn't to say that you aren't allowed to have your own opinions, to not like the things you don't like. It's specifically to point out that you being angry at a specific person, you attacking a specific person, is often misdirected. If you feel like you're just not getting the satisfaction from yelling at the corporate Twitter channel or yelling at the studio directly, if you feel like you need to focus it down onto an actual human being, I mean, that's really sad. I'm sorry. That's very sad. And hopefully you can grow beyond that. But I will give you a couple of outlets.
Don't spend your money on slop games. Voice your opinion online. Give constructive criticism. And it's okay to be mad. It's okay to be mad. And also, do not go over and harass and, you know, shout death threats on their DMs. That's it. That's it. I think they should say it. Because you want to know something? We will keep on talking to you saying, hey, your community is telling you that the game that they saw, the trailer that we saw, that's not what we like. And then they just straight up ignored us. They just said, hey, this is not BioWare. This is not the game that we wanted. And the game comes out and they're just like, oh, this is really not the game that we wanted. And this is what happens when you don't listen to your fan base. You don't listen to your customers. You end up with no money, and then you end up getting laid off. It is not us. I'm tired of these fucking developers coming up to us and saying, oh, you're the fucking issue. Nah, nigga. We came up to you in good faith at the end, and then as you started to continuously ignore us, started name calling us, insulting us. Yes, this also happened This also happened too with many other different developers. So I don't know why he doesn't bring that up. Maybe he'll bring it up later. Who knows? But doesn't that feel a bit off? You see what I'm saying?
If you need to complain at a human being,
I swear if you take us to your community forums and say something positive on Reddit or something, I'm going to turn off this video. What is a good idea to give them information on something? Tell us.
To say you don't get to go lower than the first person in the credits. You can go higher than that, but no lower than that. The first person in the credits is the person who was, theoretically at least, in charge of the project. They are the person where at least some of the responsibility is going to lie. Now, did they have full control over what was going on in the project? No, because you could still have the CEO of the company forcing them to use his stupid nephew as a script consultant. But at the very least, they were in charge of the project for a somewhat significant percentage of the time. So if you are mad about Anthem and we look at the credits, no shit, that's me. But yeah, if you feel like you...
Alright, that's funny. Alright, that's funny. That's... Oh shit, that's me. Yeah, we didn't like that game. I'm sorry. How could you fuck up a mech game? How could you fuck up a mech game? It's like they were like, listen, we got mechs, but also we really want to be Mass Effect at the same time. And I'm just like, bro, I don't know. I don't know. How could you fuck up a mech game? Whatever. All right, keep going.
You need to yell at somebody for the way that Anthem is. It's much better to be yelling at someone like me, who was theoretically in charge of the project, or at least in charge of the project for some of the development time, than yelling at someone who was working on the combat or the level design or whatever. Because again, you don't know exactly what their reality was. Okay. When I was an executive producer, I got paid pretty well. And to some degree, from my perspective, some of that compensation was to act as a lightning rod for this negative discourse. It's one of the reasons why I think it is an executive producer's responsibility to have a social media presence. Because some of you, if you're still watching, will play a game and be angry about it and need to yell at a human being. And I think one of the executive producer's responsibilities is to protect his team. And part of protecting his team...
No. You're not going to do this whole favoritism. I hope you add more to this. You're not only, when you get critical feedback from your players, you're not only supposed to protect your teammates, you're also supposed to take their feedback into consideration. I hope that he says that. Let's continue.
Team is providing that lightning rod. If you don't provide that lightning rod, then people who need to vent are going to find places to vent. We live in a social media world. Many people have some form of social media presence. If you, as the most senior person on the project, don't have a social media presence, then people are going to go and find someone else. Someone who isn't paid as well as you. Someone who doesn't necessarily have...
Okay, so he's not talking about... I get it. You're supposed to protect your own teammates. Okay, that's admirable. That's smart. That's good. But you're also supposed to take that critical... I hope he knows this. I just wish he said it. You're also supposed to take that critical feedback into consideration, because there are actual people that you need to look at the situation as there are going to be some people out there just spitting just bad faith, like, yo, this game's trash. Listen, you can only, for the people out there, you can't just say this is woke trash. You got to come up with more than that. You got to be like, bro, we don't want this shit in the game. That's already, that sentence is better. Already, we don't want this shit in the game. She's over here talking about non-binary. Nobody gives a fuck about this. This is fucking weird. Take it out the game. Can we go back to Dragon Age, please? Not to be fair, if you're trying to give some feedback to them, it has to be more than just non-binary. Now, like I said before, you guys don't really care because you wanted a good game. You're just not going to spend any money on it, and then you'll just clown around with your friends and then just say, go woke, go broke. I get it. That's fine. And you can do that. But, and this is also, can I also add, the reason why people are not going to give you critical, if you're not getting critical feedback from players, it's probably because at this point in time, you guys are not listening to the players. You are giving me a video about the gamer. You're trying to talk to the gamer. The gamer is a widespread person of different ethnicities, of different people, and all these different people that play video games don't give too much of a fuck about you as the game developer. Give me good game, I like good game, have a good day. If you give me bad game, and I just spent 70 to 100 bucks on said game, I'm gonna be mad. Now, we can do this whole thing where it's hard to make a video game, but we do not care. I'm sorry, I know I said this 5 times, I know.
The tools to protect themselves from the toxicity that is leveled at them. I would say again that you shouldn't be targeting people directly, even the executive producer. But you know what? If you feel the need, the higher up in the organization you go, the more I'm going to say have at her. As you get beyond the executive producer and you get up into studio leadership and group leadership and the C-suite and the person in charge of the entire corporation, they share responsibility in the game you don't like being the way that it is. So if you feel the need to yell at them, again, probably don't, but they're big boys and girls, so they should be able to handle it. Now, the reality is, most of those people do not have a social media presence, do not have a way that you can yell at them directly. So a lot of times what I'm telling you is the least senior person you're allowed to yell at is the executive producer. And a lot of times the most senior person you're going to be able to yell at is the executive producer.
Why aren't you saying, why are you talking about yelling and stuff like that? Okay, I got it. If you want to yell at somebody, yell at me because I'm the executive producer. Why aren't you saying, hey, we would really appreciate it if you just take that feedback and give it to the people that are in power. Why aren't you saying that? Why are you just saying yelling? Because there are actually people that are not only just yelling, but they're literally yelling, hey, this game is trash because the lore and the story is broken and there's too many plot holes and this thing needs to be fixed. And also the gameplay is mute. So it goes to this point where it's just like, why can't you, this is what I would do if I was a game developer. Okay, all right, I'm an executive director, creator, yada yada. I'm at the top. Somebody doesn't like the way my combat is, and they're yelling at me, and I'm just like, are they just yelling? Okay. And I look, and I'm just like, all right, delete. All right, let me look at the next one. This person's yelling, but he's giving me critical feedback. Okay, let me see what this says. Okay, he's thinking I should change this and this. Okay, well, let's see if that is just subjective or objective. Okay, so that's just subjective. But what he said about the plot hole with the story, he's right about. That's objectively true. Okay, we could do something about that. We'll have to rectify that later. Why is it always about yelling? Some of these people actually really care about the said game that you're making. Maybe they're just not, some of them are can we stop focusing on just the ones that are coming in with bad faith? The ones that are doing the death threats, because that does happen, and the ones that are harassing people. What about fuck those people? What about the other ones? What about those?
Sir. So once again, the executive producer serves as a lightning rod for all this vitriol. If you feel like you're not being listened to when you complain on Metacritic or you complain on the forums of a studio or you complain into the social media channels of the publisher or the studio, be aware that this stuff is carefully scrutinized, not just by the social media teams, also by the teams themselves. Arguably, in a lot of cases, to too great of a degree. The team is listening, I would say often, too much to what you are yelling about and complaining about in these channels. But don't worry, you don't need to go onto their Twitter channel and yell at them directly, because they're going to hear it anyway. Be a human being, have some empathy, and stop being cruel. Stop throwing a party because a bunch of people lost their jobs.
No, they're not going to listen to that. They're not going to listen to that. Also, nobody gives a fuck. If you lose your job because you made a shitty game, then bye-bye. I don't know what to tell you, man. I'm sorry. But the two things that I was talking about, the harassment and the death threats, yeah, definitely believe. But if you lose your job, you lose your job. Well, you're gonna come to me and say like, but we the EA, and yeah, we know EA sucks, but we also know that you guys suck as well. It's like, listen, EA was like, yo, well, they wanted us to make a multiplayer. Okay, then work around that. It's gonna be difficult. It's gonna take you a while, but work around that. And then they were just like, you know what? I just want to talk about my blue hair and my nose ring. And I was like, nigga, that's what you want to talk about? You don't want to talk about Ferelden and the Grey Ward? All right, fine, whatever. We'll talk about the nose ring and the blue hair and therapy sessions.
Because you don't know the circumstances that resulted in the thing that you're mad at.
We know.
People deserve some grace.
People deserve to be, what's the word I'm looking for? They're smarter than you know, is basically what I'm saying. People are smarter than you know, okay? They're able to put 2 and 2 together and be like, you know what? I think 2 + 2 = 4. And then it turns out, and this happens a lot too, especially with the whole US aid thing, where they spent money on the whole, they spent tax dollars, actual US tax dollars, to put a thumb on Gamergate. And so when I saw that, I was like, I think gamers are not fucking going crazy. And we're not. So the whole don't laugh at people being laid off, a hee a ho ho.
People deserve some empathy from you, and if you can't provide that, then stay off the internet completely.
That's
one last time for the cheap seats. You are.
I also gotta say, if you can't, you know, handle, you know, gamers, stay off the internet. Okay. I don't know what to tell you. The telling gamers to stay off the internet. That's the. Where are you going with this?
You are entitled to your opinion. You are entitled to be angry about a game that you bought.
We're entitled to be angry, but we also should not be angry. Is that what I'm getting? Is that what I'm understanding? We're entitled to be angry, but we should also just shut up, is what I'm hearing. Maybe we're entitled to these feelings that we have, but we should just keep our mouth shut. What? Okay, we're talking about just the yelling. We're not talking about, he's only talking about the people that are, you know, it's the toxic positivity that I just can't stand, where it's just like, you have to realize that people are going to get angry, and you can't just look at it as in, oh, these people are angry because they're bigots. Nah, nigga, they're angry because they spent $70 on a game that sucks. And so when somebody comes to you with constructive criticism, and you just look at it like nothing, you don't care about those people that give you constructive criticism. What about those? What about those? Because we're getting a lot of AAA games that are coming out that are shit. You don't listen to the ones that are you make videos about the ones that are angry, but you don't make videos about the ones with the constructive criticism. That's what you do. That's what you do. You get high off the ones that are angry, and you don't do shit about the one. You don't even listen to the ones that have constructive criticism.
You paid good money for it, but try to remember that it's just a game. Even more importantly, when you are expressing your complaints, stay away from cruelty. Stay away from targeting individual people. Stay away from trying to cause harm. Stay away from celebrating harm done to actual human beings.
Celebrating harm? Celebrating harm? The only time that you were talking about celebrating was celebrating people being laid off. Nigga, I'm gonna celebrate people getting laid off or getting fired. I'm gonna do that. I'm sorry. That's just gonna happen. Listen, that's my world, okay? And I'm just living in it. Listen, you got that food on your table? That's because of me, because I bought that game. But if we want to talk about death threats and the harassment, yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree. But the whole, like, don't celebrate people's downfall. Well, maybe they should have made a better game. Maybe they, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna put developers on a fucking pedestal just because they made a fucking video game. Developers are people, but they're also, what's the word? Let me say this again. Developers are just people. They are not some sort of exclusive group where they deserve praise, access, all these goodies, and they should always have positive feedback all the time. Because let me tell you, that sort of comfortable sort of like situation that you got in your head, it's not gonna happen. You need to live in reality. Because if you make a bad game, guess what? If you make a game that's with political ideology that is shoved down people's throats, that's what you're gonna get. So what you should be doing is you should be going to the CEO. I don't know why you're coming over to the gamers. You should actually be going to the CEO and saying, hey, maybe we shouldn't be doing these DEI practices. Maybe we should have, the developers should have more freedom to make their video game. All these different things. But you never thought about that. Maybe you had another video like that, but where's your video on, hey, these publishers should give, I hope he did. Where's the videos where, like, hey, the publishers should give more breathing room and creativity to the developers, because they bring home the bread and butter. You know what I mean? And still, instead of doing this whole, because I know they do the whole publishers do deadlines, correct? Publishers are like, hey, you need to make this game in 6 years or something like that. I know how contracts roll. Yeah, that sort of thing. But, and I understand the EA did the whole multiplayer thing out of nowhere, because I could tell Veilguard is supposed to be a multiplayer game. That one I could run with you, but most people aren't looking at that shit. They don't fucking care. But my biggest concern is is we need to go over to these publishers, these executives, these parasites that are changing the flow of beautiful games that we know and love, like Halo, like Gears of War, Dragon Age, Mass Effect, maybe all these other games. And also at the same time, maybe the developers just suck at their job. There's that too. I'm sorry. I know you want to live in this world where it's just like, oh, the developers can do no wrong. They can. They can. Oh, I made a mistake. That's one thing. But sometimes developers come in every day with a smile on their face and they think they're making a masterpiece, and every other developer in that studio is like, this nigga thinks this is going to be fun. I need to talk to them. This story, this gameplay, it sucks. Why don't you go over there and talk to the executive? Yeah, I go up there, I get fired. I ain't doing that shit. But I'm just saying, why go to the gamers?
Express your opinion to the company that made your game. Tell them what you like. Tell them what you don't like. Be specific. It will help you get games that are more like what you want.
They don't listen to that shit. They don't listen to that shit. I wish they did, but they don't listen to that shit. There will be 50 people in that forum saying this would be cool if you added this, and it's lore creative, and it's rich, and it's great, and it's fun. And then the writer will be like, oh, these are nice ideas. And they'll listen to that 1% person, the person that's just like Patrick Weeks or the whole Weeks family or Corin Bush. And that one person's going to be like, we should have a character that's trans and she's growling at the rook and they're naked. And he's just like, you know what? These 50 ideas are great, but this one idea is even better. All right, boys, put it in writing. Put it in writing. Let's go. Chop, chop. That's what I mean. Bad game developer.
But when you are personally attacking individual devs, you are crossing a line. And you're probably attacking the wrong person anyway. A special thanks to my members. They provide the resources that this channel needs to keep running. If you're interested...
All right. We're good. But anyway, that was a good video. I made this video way too long. All right, hard rant videos up to like 1 hour. Awesome. Yeah, we're back, baby. Woo! Hard rant videos up to an hour. My throat is tired. Anyway, that's my hard rant. I'll send the if somebody wants to look at this, I'll send it. I'll link it to you guys. Give it a look-see if you'd like to see that. There you go. Yeah, it was informative.